Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
This is Ed in San Diego, and welcome Myriam Callegarin in Milano, Italy. Thank you for being on Global TV Talk Show again.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, that's great. So it's 6 p.m. or so where you are, 9 a.m. here in California. So let's talk about post-pandemic, hopefully it's post-pandemic, and people at work. And so being an organization manager today is probably crazy making, but also very challenging. So from your take, before we do a deep dive into your favorite topic today, tell us what's happening in Milano in terms of people going back to the office, or is it more still remote?
Well, it depends. Some companies, they have several people back in the office, but it's never 100%. Mm-hmm. And it's usually, maybe, 2-3 times a week. And 50% maybe of the people at work. So it's still hybrid and challenge. Yeah,
probably stay that way a while. So do they vary, the people who are in the office, or is it restricted by design?
What do you mean by that?
Well, let's say I'm employed and in your company, and so I was just there on Wednesday and Thursday, but on Friday, we want your chair to be used by somebody else. So next week you come in Monday, Tuesday, and not Wednesday, Thursday, that kind of mix and match.
Well, it depends on the company. I mean, until now in Italy, most of the companies, they still have their desks, so people have their desk and they come to their usual place. There are some companies that have reduced their workspaces a lot, and therefore, it's more on rotation, and you don't have your personal desk anymore. And that is challenging also at psychological level.
That's disruptive, really.
Very disruptive. Yes.
Yeah, so it's sort of like being in a hotel or going to Starbucks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into a discussion about yourself. You've had years, including with Mercedes-Benz and other companies. And how long have you been doing your own business?
Oh, well, now it's been already, it's 20 years now that you make me think about it. Yes. Yeah, so I've been working in the corporate world for 11 years and now 20 years in business. Okay, you can calculate my age more or less, probably.
Oh, I'd say 30, 35 or so. But
yes, exactly. So more or less. Thank you very much. Yes.
You look wonderful. So are people excited about going back to work in the office?
Well, some are, absolutely, because they really they really enjoy, their interaction, the personal interaction, the live interaction. Especially in Italy, people, they really, for them, it's very important to meet, to touch one another, although you're not supposed to touch one another, but being close is very important in Italy. So many people really look forward to having the possibility to go and meet their colleagues. Some other ones are very cautious, very, very cautious. And so they actually prefer staying at home and working from home as much as they can. So it's very varied. It depends.
Yeah, very varied. Yeah. Okay, so we've had some prior to this broadcast, some discussion, exchange of ideas, and of concern to you is this thing called hidden saboteur Is that in the marketplace or in the office or in one's own head?
Yeah, that's this hidden saboteur is actually in our head. It's in the head of well, it's in the head of managers and leaders. It's in the head of employees. It's in the it actually drives a whole organization. So you're curious about about the saboteur.
What are you talking about? I mean, this imposter syndrome idea?
No. This hidden saboteur is the stories that we tell ourselves, about the people that we work with, about our company, about the world. And these are the things, what are the things that we believe. We believe certain things about ourselves, about our boss. We believe certain things about our colleagues and about where the organization is going, about top management. And these things that we believe, they come from our interpretations, of the situations that we have experienced.
So what we're talking about here is imagination, not necessarily facts.
Yeah, that's interesting that you put it that way, because don't we operate based on our imagination all day?
Well,
Throughout
what
the
we
day?
want to do, it's a way of operating, it's a way of thinking and living.
Yes, I mean, it's whatever we think, whatever we have stories about everything, I just give you maybe a concrete example. So there was this general manager in China. He had been appointed to lead a Chinese subsidiary, and he was having this story within himself that he couldn't say no to one of the board members in the global headquarters in Italy. And that story led him to accept some behaviors from the board member, that were actually damaging him, his credibility, and they were damaging the organization in China, in the sense that this general manager in China, he had certain ideas on the strategies that he wanted to implement. And but the board member was rejecting all of these strategies, all of his proposals. And also another thing that he was doing, this board member in Italy, he wasn't really minding about the time difference, and he kept calling the general manager even, very late at night, in the middle of the night, and the problem, this was having quite a big impact on the general manager, because on one side he was losing his credibility with his Chinese staff. He wasn't able to implement the strategies that he knew were right for the country, and also it was damaging his family life. And all of this was happening because of the fact that he was believing, he was running this story within himself, within his mind, that if that he had to accept the board members' requests or way of interacting with him.
So without talking back and saying, "Hey, I don't like this.
Exactly,
don't do this." So because he was afraid.
He was afraid. He was afraid because he was thinking, this person is a person, he is in power. He's got the power of damaging my career, and he's got the power even to fire me. So that was the story that he kept telling himself, and it was keeping him trapped. And it was actually damaging him more and more at many levels, personal level, at management level, at leadership level, at business levels also. So
it sounds like a terrible situation.
Yes, Yes, exactly. But that's, all of us, we live according to our stories, we live according to the story, for example, that, our boss is arrogant, or we live by a story that our team is incompetent or lazy. We live by the stories that our company just cares about numbers. And all of these stories that we keep telling ourselves and others, they shape our behavior. They drive our decisions. Like, for example, if I have the story that my company actually doesn't really care about me, I'm not really going to put a lot of energy and effort in my work. I'm just going to do my work enough to get my paycheck, and that's it.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by Porchlight Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
Stop dreaming and start living overseas. International lifestyle consultant Emily Braun can help you seamlessly transition to your new life in your dream destination. Whether you are a retiree, a digital nomad, or a mobile executive, Emily Braun can make your transition overseas a success. Visit emilybraun.com.
Coutalis is a global group with a worldwide footprint. With 16 agencies in 10 countries, Coutalis offers companies and mobile professionals a unique combination of HR services and options. Find us at coutalis.com.
Take your communication skills to the next level. Barbara Bolt of Bolt Global has a passion to make you shine. As our globe expands, effective intercultural communication and presentation is a must. Visit boltglobal.com.
So when I was a younger man, this is a long time ago, I worked for a large company, and the boss was really strong. It was even way back then, it was a multi-million-dollar company, and I was just 26, 27, 28 years old, and I was one of his young trainees, assistant. Everybody there was older than me. Okay, so it was prestigious to be in the company and to have the job for sure. And the guy paid me at the time, which was a lot of money. And so I liked that. But I wasn't prepared. And yet I was afraid to have a one-on-one with the guy and say, hey, I can't deal with you. It's not you, it's me, and I'm not prepared emotionally, intelligently. And so I struck back. I became emotional, and of course, which is a no-no, right? And so the guy fired me, right? And so I left, and so that was like a momentous occasion. And so I would imagine, like, the general manager is probably 35, 45, 50 years old, family, depending on the company and that board member for a livelihood. And it's probably the same kind of situation. Of course, he'd have much more stuff together and wouldn't be so emotional like I was, lashing out. And so he can't do that yet. So he's being eaten up inside. And he doesn't know what to do, right?
Mhm.
So how can that general manager, what can that general manager do? He should probably hire a coach, right?
Well, I mean, that was a case, that was a client of mine. He was actually around 45, 46, so already bit, he had already had quite some experience, but still he had these stories, within himself that were leading him. And so, well, he decided to work with me, to work together, and we started looking at those stories. We started looking at what is it, what kind of beliefs were driving him, what kind of beliefs about himself, what kind of beliefs about this board member as well, what he was thinking about him. And so we, by really digging deeper about stories, about expectations, about these beliefs and even fears, he realized what had been actually driving his such an insecure behavior actually in his mind. And he managed to create a shift in the way he was seeing himself and the board member. And also he started recognizing that there was also another truth, another story, there was another possibility. So the fact of risking to be fired was just one of the possibilities. And but there were other ones. So when he started developing a new story about himself, about how he viewed himself, he also started to change the way he was interacting with this board member. And actually what then happened was that this board member started trusting him. He started listening to him. He started trusting his strategies. He also stopped calling him in the middle of the night, because just of the way of a different way, of a new way that this general manager was interacting with this board member. So actually, he gained a lot of respect from this board member. And he gained a lot of freedom, trust and freedom in China. So he managed to implement his strategies. His credibility with his Chinese staff increased, was really strengthened. He managed to build a really strong team. And also the quality of his personal life improved because of the fact that now he had managed to set, the right boundaries, and he was enjoying his time with his family at night and also in the weekends, because this board member also called him during the weekend sometimes. So maybe he was with his family, and then all of a sudden he had to stay on the phone for 1 hour or so during the weekend before. But like that, he managed to create this new sense of family time, and respecting, creating the boundaries that he needed.
We have just a few minutes left. So is this more common in large companies or smaller organizations?
Well, it's common everywhere.
It could be anywhere,
It
right?
could be anywhere, yes.
Yeah.
Because even just the fact of thinking, as an employee, I can think, for example, I'm not good enough, I'm not bright enough, I'm not smart enough. Or also it could be, maybe I am, another story that I could tell myself is that I am smarter than everyone else. That's also another story,
Right.
And depending on the story that I tell myself, I behave with people in a certain way, and that leads to a certain kind of results. So it's actually, when I say it's the hidden saboteur, it's actually the elephant in the room, so to speak, It's what is really driving people's behavior at all levels, employees, but also, CEOs. When they make strategic decisions, they make them based on the stories that they have in their head. So it can be with company of any sizes at all levels.
What do you do? How, I mean, everyone has to recognize and be intelligent right away that this goes on, and there's got to be an open communication channel somehow, right?
Yeah, the open communication channel is first of all with yourself, really becoming aware of what is actually leading me. Because very often we think, even as a manager or as a leader, I am the leader. Am I really the leader when I am actually being led by my stories, by my preconceptions, by my fears, And, in that sense, I realize I am not really driving my decisions. My fears are driving them. So it's about that. This is what I'm calling leadership activation. It's activating your leadership in the sense of becoming aware of who is really driving your behavior and making a conscious choice to be the one, to become the one who is actually leading the stories. So creating new stories that support my behavior, my success, instead of sabotaging it.
This is really interesting, and I invite you to come back on the show in another week or two and give us another episode on another example about how this situation can be corrected. Mm-hmm. It's just not a matter of self-examination. It's really understanding what to do and what not to do, probably.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you need to become aware of what is happening within your mind, the mechanisms, the dynamics, and also becoming aware of where these stories or beliefs are coming from. Once you realize that, you can replace them with new ones. So it's like you're operating, we tend to operate by default, and activating your leadership is becoming aware and starting to operate consciously instead of by default, by beliefs, by thoughts that are actually helping us to get where we want, instead of sabotaging us and leading us in a different direction from what we want.
We are pleased to welcome Adamo Education as a proud sponsor of Global TV Talk Show.
The concept of a microschool is the reimagining of the one-room schoolhouse. My name is Tamara Becker. I'm the president and CEO of Adamo Education. The microschool concept really does not just lend itself to the personalization and the customization of learning, but also the social development and fostering that sense of love for learning. Unlike what we see in traditional brick and mortar schools, we have multiple grade levels in the same learning space. Students can be enriched by the socialization that they get, as well as the academic support from peers. What differentiates Adamo is the fact that we are taking the best pieces of brick and mortar, of digital, and then at-home learning. Students here can come 5 days a week. They can come 4 hours a day. It will really just depend on what is best for the student and for the parent. To enroll, just reach out via phone, text, or email, and we'll have that personalized conversation, and we'll be able to get you all set. Check us out at adamoeducation.org.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
So Myriam Callegarin, I thank you so much for this brief, but really deep thinking about probably a very common corporate problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you started talking about the situation, and I, for some reason, just did a Twilight Zone flashback into when I was 28 years old. And that bad situation in my life, how I mishandled it. And
Well, it was just
I'm
because you
sure,
had a certain story in your mind at the time, you know?
yeah, I just was like a trapped. Whew. So thanks for the shrink session here. So everybody look at Myriam's name right here in the corner, and she's on LinkedIn, and there's a lot there, including connection to your website. So please come back, and thank you, Myriam.
Thank you very much, Ed. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, ciao, grazie mille.
Ciao.
Okay, this is Ed in San Diego and Myriam in Milano. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, and you have a great day.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to go now to an appointment about a half hour away, so that's why I have to get going. Take care.
You too. Bye, Ed. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.